Okay, so we're continuing our exploration of points, lines, planes, and angles, talking about the midpoint of a segment. If you'll turn to your notes page, we will first do the warm-ups. So again, this is warm-ups from our earlier lessons. Make sure you follow the instructions. You should be able to do it. Following from first counting off the number line to do part 1. Distance formula for part 2. So if you don't remember it, it is in your reference table for chapter 1, and I'm writing it right here. And then for 3, you have to do the distance with Pythagorean theorem, remembering that's also on your reference table. And we get that by figuring out where these would come together to create that right triangle. So go ahead, do those, and then come back to check your answers. Okay, so just counting. You should have found at number 1 that AC is 4 and DE is 9. Distance formula, labeling one of your points x1, y1, the other x2, y2, plug in. You should have found that the distance was 10. And the same on the Pythagorean theorem. We had a horizontal distance of 6, vertical distance of 8. Plugging into the Pythagorean theorem, also find D is 10. So next up is the midpoint. The midpoint of a segment is the point that is halfway between the endpoints of a segment. So that should sound logical. Midpoint, the middle point, the point in the middle, breaks it into 2 equal halves. Okay, so for the midpoint, we also could, another word that could be used to describe the midpoint, fancy, would be the segment bisector. This is the point that cuts it in half. You could also call it the middle. I would refrain from using center because that sounds like you're talking about a circle, and we're not. All right, and then this next bullet, if x is the midpoint of AB, then let's look at it. Here's my line segment AB. If I know x is the midpoint, then what do we know? Again, we know that the middle, or the midpoint, is the exact middle, halfway between, making 2 equal segments. So I know that AX is going to be congruent to XB. At this point, I want you to stop to watch the video. So if you go back to Google Classroom, you will find a video attached underneath the lesson video. After that is complete, you'll come back here to watch, and it will actually be monitoring whether or not you watch the video, so I will know, and it will affect your grade. So go find that video and watch it, please. All right, so welcome back. You should have finished the video that was attached in Google Classroom to watch on the definition of a midpoint. So some stuff for now. If we have to find the midpoint from 2 points off of a number line, you take the value of the A, for the first point, and the value of the second point, and we average them. So remember, to take an average, you add up what you have, and then you divide by however many items you used. So we have 2 points. We add the 2 points together, divide by 2. If you don't have it off a number line and you're looking at the coordinate plane, you've been provided 2 points. You're still going to average. You just have to do it in pieces because we know each of our points is an x and a y. So what we do is we come together and we average the x's, take the x1, add it to the x2, and then divide by 2. And then we would average the y's, taking the y1, add it to the y2, and divide by 2. So it's the same procedure for both of these. It just happens to be, to do a point, you have to do it twice. You have to average the x's and average the y's. So now to give it a go. So first thing, we're doing it off the number line. I need to find the midpoint of the segment DG. So I go find the value of D. D is here at 0. Add to it the value of G. G is an 8. To find the midpoint, I average them, so I'm dividing by 2. So 0 plus 8 divided by 2 One of the ways that we can do this, just as a reminder, in the calculator, you press alpha, then the y equals, you get a fraction menu. On the top, I had 0 plus 8, and then on the bottom, I'm dividing by 2, and it gives me that answer. So again, finding the midpoint now, letter B, find the midpoint of CE. I need to average these two values. So C is a negative 4, plus E, which is the value of 2, divided by 2. It's negative 4 plus 2 divided by 2. Arrow up to that so I don't have to start over. And negative 4 plus a 2 divided by 2. Negative 1. Okay, so now try C and D. And come back, pause the video, try C and D, and then come back to check your answers. So you should have shown all of the work here for BD and BG. For BD, you should have shown the same work that you showed on the other questions. Show a negative 7 plus 0 on the top, divided by 2 for the bottom, to get an answer of negative 3.5. And BG, same procedure. It would have shown negative 7 plus 8 on the top, with the 2 on the bottom, for an answer of 0.5. So I'm not writing them down here because I want to reward you for watching the video as would be the appropriate way to be. So I'll know whether or not you did based on whether or not you completed those and wrote down what I just described. If you don't have it, rewind and figure it out. So 2, we're practicing finding the coordinates of the midpoint. And it's telling you to leave it in fraction form. It's okay to do it as decimal. On a test, you got to do it as it's described, but it's okay here to leave it as a decimal. Okay, so remember our midpoint formula said to average our x's and then to average our y's. So similar to before with our distance formula, we should label. And then we can actually plug in. So the midpoint would be, I need x1 plus y1, or no, x1 plus x2, right? So my x1 is 0, plus, then I need an x2, x2 is 12, and it's over 2. So again, where am I getting this? I'm getting this out of the formula up here. And then my comma, and now I get my new fraction, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Just fixing some stuff. x2 was 12, so now it'll make sense. So y1 is 0, and my y2 is 8. So 0 plus 12 makes a 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 0 plus 8 makes 8. Divided by 2 makes 4. This is the midpoint. And if you were to actually grab it, you would actually see that as well. Great. So this time, I will do letter D. We are doing B and C as independent practice. And you'll have to come back and check those. But for now, let's do letter D. So again, my formula for a midpoint. I have to average the x's, so x1 plus x2 over 2, and then average my y's, so y1 plus y2 over 2. So label them, x1, y1, x2, y2, and then I start plugging in. x1 is 10, plus x2 is 9 over 2. y1 is a negative 22, plus, and y2 is 10, all over 2. 10 plus 9 is 19. 119 divided by 2, we get 9.5. Negative 22 plus 10 is a negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 2 is a negative 6. So that's our midpoint formula. And again, at any point in time, if you need it, pull off your calculator. And fix the top. So like I had 10 plus 9 divided by 2. It's going to give it to you in fraction form. So if you did the calculator and you want to leave your answer in fraction form, that's fine. If you want that answer to be a decimal, you just do math, choose number 2, and it brings you back there. Don't hesitate to use it. Again, you are trying B and C by yourself, and you're going to come back and check the answer, paying close attention to what I say, so that you know what the answer is, because I'm not doing it on the paper. I want to reward you for doing it correctly. Okay, so you should have paused the video, and you should work on your paper just like I have for letters A and D. It should be the same work. Your final answer for question B would be a midpoint of negative 3, 10. Your final answer for C would be 1, 5.5. Or if you left it in fraction form, 1 and 11 over 2. So question 3. Find the other endpoint of the line segment with the given endpoint and midpoint. Hint, draw a picture and label the given information. Name the endpoint you're trying to find as an X and a Y. Alright, so what we'll do, start by labeling. Endpoint, midpoint. We got this new thing that we need to find. An X and Y. So there's an algebraic method to do it, but it is a little bit complicated. Instead, what we're going to do is we look at by X from each of these. How did I get from a negative 1 to a negative 9? Well, think about a number line. Think about where those are. Somewhere back here in the negative 9. How far back? It's back 8 units. So now what I do is I start at my negative 9, go back another 8 units. How far is that now? Now we're at negative 17. That is my X. So that's going to be the X on my midpoint. Now I just need to find Y. Same process. Okay, so I'm at 9. I need to get to a negative 10. How do I do that? Again, think about your number line. 9's here. You gotta go 9 units back to the 0, and then over to the negative 10. How far is it from 9 back to 10? And that is negative 19. Alright, so now what we have to do, because that was a distance of negative 19, is we gotta take our negative 10 and go back another 19 units. So negative 10 minus 19, that's a negative 20y. That 29, that is my y. And that question is now done. So you need to try out B, because that is the one that you are doing and asking for help as you need it, and that is all that you are doing for today. See me if you have any questions.